Okay, well, coming up, we have some exciting news. Are we on the Gremlins prequel?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I'm not feeling too negative about this. I know that usually I'm not a big proponent of prequels, but I'm not really seeing a problem with this because Gremlins does kind of imply there's some sort of history that goes before that, and it'd be kind of fun to see what came before.
Yeah, it's the thing that makes me scared though. They say it's an animated 10-episode adult comedy. It's adult orientated. I don't know. Okay, as long as it's not another Rick and Morty knockoff. Okay.
Yeah, I get that. I'll temper that with this though, and far be it from me to be overly optimistic. Okay, I mean, I'm no offense, Big Al, but I'm not Big Al. I tend to consider myself pretty realistic, maybe leaning towards the pessimist. But if you think about what the original Gremlins was, it kind of was an adult black comedy.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it really was. It was, and the second one even more so. There was some really funny stuff, but there was also some really scary stuff in there too. That was not a kids show. You know, even though, the Mogwai was really, really cute, Gizmo, Baby Yoda, but no, there was some grisly, horrific, stick the monster in the blender and hit frappe type scenes,
Yeah, I love that scene.
Right? Oh, that mom. I saw that and I'm like, yep, that's how my mom would have been.
You know what I love about that scene? Now, that's a good way of subverting expectations in that scene, because you're thinking, oh no, something bad's going to happen to the mom. And she's scared, okay?
Yeah.
As anyone would be in that situation. But she is very resourceful and isn't stupid and does what needs to be done in that scene.
Yup.
And I was like, okay, yay to the suburban moms. Okay.
Exactly. Because yeah, I mean, you don't make her the victim automatically because she's a woman and maybe an older woman at that. You go, no, this is Mama Bear defending her house, Yeah, I dig it. And I love that movie. And yeah, I could see a prequel, and I could see it as animated, and I can see it as an adult comedy, depending on how they go with it. If they go, you're right. If they go too Rick and Morty stupid with it, I'd like to see them be honest with all that I just said. They need to kind of shoot for that, I
mean, it's taking place in 1920s China, which makes sense since the character's name, Sam Wynn, he's from, that's where he was from. Okay.
Right.
So, and I know that Brian Gilmartin is like enough with the prequels. I am wondering if this is testing the grounds for things to see if there is still Gremlins interest and to see if we could maybe get another movie.
Yeah, there's a couple aspects here. Yeah, there's definitely that. They want to capitalize on a property they own that they can exploit, that they know is marketable, so they can put out more plushes and toys and figures and, T-shirts and lunch boxes and whatnot. But there's also the fact that we're living in this world where we can't put actors together, so let's do an animated feature. And I think you're going to see more and more animated features. You're going to see more and more of even the live action stuff, like I said, being filmed with people separately against green screens and, put together and compositing later. I think it's just the world that we live in now, and that you kind of have to expect that.
No. It's like moving in a dystopia, but
I know, but
we've been there for a while now.
That's just realism. But Gremlins cartoons, I do think that's the way of the future. Yes, I understand what they're saying about the prequels, but I think of any of these stories, Gremlins, and here's the other thing too. Gremlins is the kind of thing that lends itself to, it's almost like a monster genre, right? Like zombies or vampires or whatever. Gremlins can be taking place in the past, the present, the future, and well, it should. you know, and they don't have to be directly connected in any way other than it's those monsters again. And now they're in San Francisco, and now they're in New York, and now they're in China.
You could do a lot between the period of the 20s up until the 80s when the first movie takes place.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
And as you said, if they decide there's enough call for it, we could, you know, have a modern setting, and you could have the characters be completely unrelated. It doesn't have to be the same kid, you know, from the previous movie. There doesn't have to be any direct continuity. You just have, you know, this creature. They don't even have to name it as a Mogwai now. You don't even have to know that it's a Mogwai. It's just you find something and you go on the point of view character learning about this thing from scratch without anyone giving him any information to begin with.
Yeah, I don't know if Gizmo's going to come back.
It might not be Gizmo. It might
I joke, you know, but he seemed real. That was my point. The
exactly.
But no, you know what I like about this idea though? I like the idea. I mean, I think prequels can work.
Mm-hmm.
Not always. That has been evidenced, but
the biggest problem is when a prequel, when there's a continuity issue and you don't want to run afoul of what you're leading up to. There's no stakes if you know you have a character younger. Well, you know they need to survive until the next movie. We've already seen it. So there's no stakes there, right?
Yeah.
But with something like Gremlins, we don't even have to have any of the same characters, you know?
Yeah, well, that's true. But one thing I do like about the idea of having the old Chinese man, Sam Wynn, though, is that remember how he says, you know,
his character as a younger man,
you are not ready. Wouldn't it be interesting to see him messing up as a young man with the Mogwai
and giving some agency to his wisdom that we see later on.
Maybe
how did he gain this wisdom?
I was like you at one point in my life. Exactly. I made a big mistake. Okay, maybe that's where they're going with this. You know, that might be an interesting story.
That's the interesting thing, right? We always see the wise old man, right?
Yeah.
But we don't always get to see where that wisdom came from. Wisdom, you suddenly have it and you have some reason to be arrogant about this knowledge that you have. No, you got it by making mistakes and growing up yourself. And now you're trying to help someone who's younger not make those same mistakes, knowing full well that they probably will, you know. And the only arrogance that you can have is, I made those mistakes. I tried to spare you. Your fault. Now I can laugh at you.
Experience is the best teacher.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, but Tiny Toons is back. Are we excited? Yay!
Well, I mean, I always loved Tiny Toons. I actually liked Animaniacs more.
I did too.
You know, I haven't heard anything yet about. I mean, let's face it. I can't think of anything that was in Tiny Toons that needs to be tweaked, you know, for the SJW mob. But you know, I don't know why the Animaniacs wanted to get rid of Scrappy the squirrel either. So
yeah, I'm waiting for verification on that too, because part of me is wondering, does she maybe show up in a later episode and we just haven't seen scenes of her?
I have heard some follow up on that.
You have.
They are starting to rethink that because there was so much fan outcry, and it was what I suspected. I don't think they realized how popular she was because. I don't know. It was just the way the property was handled. You know, we know that Pinky and the Brain was popular, you know, and people were, you know, crazy about, but there wasn't that like apparent enthusiasm for Slappy the Squirrel. And then when they say, oh, she's not coming back, what? Why? Because, you know, she was kind of a beloved character. You know, kind of a cantankerous old, you know, I kind of get that.
And that's the thing with Animaniacs. We have a lot of we have the Good Feathers.
Oh, the Good Feathers.
Remember them? We have them.
What are you saying? I can't understand you. I love those guys.
Oh, man. Brian Gilmartin, I still have the Tiny Toon games for the Super Nintendo as well. But yeah, I also have the Animaniacs game for the Super Nintendo, for that matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's the thing. I think with the Animaniacs characters, they seemed like they were original creations, okay?
Yeah.
These are original Looney Tunes style characters, whereas on Tiny Toons, they seemed like I don't even want to say like the Muppet Babies. That might be a bad analogy, but
I see where you're going with that.
I
Though.
mean, and I'm not yelling at any of the characters because I like Daffy Duck. I have nothing against Plucky Duck. This is like Daffy Duck. The next generation, Buster Bunny is like Bugs Bunny. Buster and Babs both like Bugs Bunny. The next generation.
No relation.
Yeah. I did like that line. I would think it was funny if they showed them grown up and they got married, but they chose a new name because it's like we decided we weren't going to use our. It's because some couples do that. The new last name is like, we're just using the last name because I'm not going to take his name, and I'm thinking you have the same last name. That would be the joke.
Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit now or something.
There you go. There you go. Yes, but I don't know. And I do remember Tiny Toons that came kind of off the heels of Who Framed Roger Rabbit when everybody was getting back into the Looney Tunes characters. And
you're right. I'd forgotten about that, but it was right around that time.
It was a huge movie, and I don't know. I'll see. They actually have Tiny Toons on Hulu, and I was rewatching it again. I watched the first and second episodes, and I did kind of like how they break the fourth wall a lot on that show.
Oh yeah,
like how Plucky Duck was saying, "Oh, I'm getting paid double scale for this episode." And you're like, "What?" And they yell at him.
I love. There was one. They kind of like Animaniacs. They used to make jokes that were more for the parents. Yes. I don't mean they were adult jokes like they were risque.
That the parents would get.
That would just go over the kid's head because it was something culturally relevant to adults. And there was one time that they made a joke like that, and Babs looks into the camera like there's a camera on these cartoons, breaks the fourth wall and says, "Obscure reference, kids, ask your parents," and then goes back to whatever she was doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And I always imagine, some kid going to mom and asking, and mom answering, and then going, "Why on earth would you ask me about that? How did that come up?"
Yeah.
But, so here, just like I was kind of saying with the Gremlins, we got the same situation here with Warner Brothers. They got to exploit what they have, right? They're not doing anything with Tiny Toons. Why the heck not? Again, we're not talking about something where there's where there's what do you call it? Continuity or something that you got to maintain. This isn't going to, ruin the stuff of the past. It's just take these characters. Let's make some more movies more cartoons and stories and whatnot.
Well, that's another thing. It says it's reimagined for a new audience, but it's supposed to also cater to the old fans. I always get a little worried about that.
Well,
but maybe it needs to be retooled.
I was going to say, I was thinking through, like, for example, in the past week, I've been thinking about Animaniacs. I kind of had the theme song going through my head, and I can't remember all of what they did, and they changed the song up going forward. And there was one where they said something da 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 da. Mm-hmm. While Bill Clinton plays the sax, we're Animaniacs. Well, they're gonna have to change that song. Okay, that's a dated reference. Okay, and I think a lot of the jokes were topical for so you expect that they're going to be talking about modern political figures, and they have to. They can't keep making the same jokes over and referring to the same. That kind of stuff you expect. That's part of what they are. If that's what they mean, fine. But if they're going to completely, like I said when we were talking about the Animaniacs, the patriarchy, they had to get that line in there, right? Okay.
Did they get that line in the Animaniacs? Patriarchy?
Yeah, there was something in that trailer that we saw.
I watched it, so I have to rewatch it now. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, like towards the end, she said something about fighting the patriarchy.
Oh, well, that's Dot, though. I could see Dot saying something like that, though, just because it's an obnoxious thing to say.
It is the kind of thing that you hear it and you're like, if this is where we're going with this, maybe I don't want to be a part of this. If it's just the tongue-in-cheek poking at it,
maybe.
We'll
see.
But yeah, I'm good with that.